afraid of? Dropping out of school, getting good grades, not finding a spouse, some unforgiveness from the past that's still tagging you, maybe some darkness that you just can't name in your life, some sin you already confessed, an addiction, death in a family, sickness you just can't get rid of, money problems, your vocation, you're not sure what it is. Well, here's some interesting news for you. God's not worried about your worries. He's in control, especially if you've given your life to Him, as many of you whom I know have. So don't doubt it. You've given your life to God. So if I'm not supposed to be worried about all those things, what am I supposed to be afraid of? Tonight with the Transfiguration, we're going to talk about fear of the Lord. And so we're going to talk about three things tonight. One is bad fear, things in life we're not supposed to be afraid of. Two is good fear. And third is surprise. You have to wait. So we're going to talk about some of those things I named, the bad fear, the things in life we're not supposed to be afraid of. So do you remember in the movie The Passion of the Christ, when Jesus is underground and he's being beat up by those thugs? He's underground in Praetorium. And Peter, his best friend, looks at him. And someone grabs Peter and says, aren't you that Galilean? Aren't you him? And after about 4 or 5 times cursing the person, he finally says, I swear I don't know the man. I've never seen him before. And then Jesus gives him that look of love, like we've experienced in our life after we've denied Jesus. And he goes running. He goes running to Mary. He won't even let Mary touch him. He says, no, I'm not worthy. I've denied him. Interesting that he should call her mother even in his sin. So why did Peter do it? Why did he deny Jesus like that as the cross was coming? It's because he was afraid of suffering. He was afraid of enduring the cross with Jesus. And isn't that the same for our lives and for our fears? You see, our fears are the chief activator of our sins, not our circumstances. We all have bad circumstances, at least one in our life. And it's very easy to look at God and say, I can't follow you because of this circumstance or that circumstance. The ladies, there's too many boys calling me to love you. There's too few boys calling me for me to love you. I mean, there's always a reason, Just tonight at dinner we were talking about soiled gene pools and fermented breads making us Irish crazy. There's always something that can sort of weigh us down. But the point of the resurrection that we can look at even in Lent, we can look forward to the resurrection and see that Jesus had the worst circumstances, and through the Father's love which He gives us, we can still make it. Or we can turn our circumstances into excuses. Do you remember the first excuse ever on the planet? It was, I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. That's what Adam said. No, Adam, you were not afraid of God. You were afraid of failure against defending Eve, where you should have been defending her. So you see, it's not failure that we should fear. For as I heard an Olympic commentator say, fortune favors the brave. So then what are we supposed to be afraid of, if not money or sin or vocations? That's where we get to the second part of the homily. This is good fear. Jesus says in Matthew 10:28, do not fear those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell. So let's talk about good fear. Fear of the Lord. This is where wisdom begins. You see, Peter actually gets it right tonight in tonight's Transfiguration account of the Gospel. Remember what happens? It goes from sleepy, they were sleepy on the mountain because they've probably been trying to keep up with Jesus for a long time, to giddy, even